Y'all know love don't cost a thing, but I want you guys to be ready for Valentine's Day because even though love don't cost a thing, y'all need to make something to make that dress, that top, or that jumpsuit sing. Make your man scream or even your spouse scream, okay? Well, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 25 patterns that you can sew up for Valentine's Day. Hey everyone, I'm Rochelle, and I tell you all the pattern styles, sew along, and behind the scenes of any and everything in between. Today we're going to be talking about 25 patterns that you can sew up within the next 2 weeks for your Valentine's Day festivities. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so listen, you guys, I came up with 25 patterns that I feel would be great to sew up during Valentine's Day. Now, all of these are not dresses. I think I put in a couple of jumpsuit. I think I put in a top. I mean, these are just things that I think would be great for you to sew up for Valentine's Day. So instead of me rumbling, let's go ahead and get into it. And let's go ahead and count down the 25 patterns that you can sew up for Valentine's Day. Let's go ahead and start off with the Butterick patterns first. First up, Butterick 6926. Now this is a Mrs. Faux Wrap pullover dress. I like the fact that it has elastic at the waist and it has that faux wrap, okay? Now there is a plus size pattern, which I think is Butterick 6927. And this one is size inclusive, okay? This one is a no notion as well. You don't need no zipper. Now, outside of elastic, that's the only thing you're going to need, all right? So that's why I went ahead and put it on the list. This is an average to sew pattern as well. But once again, it's Butterick 6926. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next pattern is Butterick 6941, which is a knit dress. Now, this one is a knit dress in 3 different lengths. So one thing about this dress, it has a V-neck wide waistband with the gathers on the bodice and the skirt. So view A is your sleeveless option, and then view B and view C are your 3/4 sleeve option. This is a no notion pattern. You don't need any zippers or anything in order to do this because it pulls over your head. But once again, and oh, by the way, this is an average to sew pattern. Once again, it's Butterick 6941. And this one is more like a plus size, which range from 20W to 38W. Now, for my girlies who are not in that 20W, I would definitely say size down, but there is a pattern. I think it's Butterick 6940 for my misses and 6941 for my women's size, okay? If you know, you know. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up, it's Butterick 5850. Now, I know Brittany J. Jones did this pattern. I believe she did a sew along for this pattern way back when, several years ago. I want to say probably about 5 to 6 years ago, but this is more like a really good staple pattern for Valentine's Day. This pattern is a dress that has fitted line bodice variation, gathered skirt, and a single layer tie end. It's an oversized waist bow dress. That's basically what it is. Don't skip out on the zipper. It is an easy to sew pattern. But yeah, once again, it's Butterick 5850. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up on the list is a jumpsuit, and that pattern number is Butterick 6522. Now, this is a Mrs. and Women jumpsuit and a sash, okay? So it is a pull-on semi-fitted jumpsuit that have the mock wrap front that also has pleats, but you also have back pleats that goes into the yoke. So you have a yoke and then the back pleat's gonna go into the yoke right here towards your shoulders. It is elastic at the waist as well, but once again, this is 6522. And if I remember correctly, this is a no notion pattern outside of that elastic at the waist. All right, but once again, it's Butterick 6522. Moving over to the next pattern, that pattern is Butterick 7006. Now this pattern is one of the newer patterns that came out for fall. I like the fact that it has like an off the shoulder style, and it reminds me of Butterick 6129. I said this during my drop video when we looked at the new release patterns for fall for Butterick. I mentioned that in this one. Another option is that one of the views have the straight skirt and the other view have the flared skirt. Now, if I was to do this dress for Valentine's Day, I would definitely be opting for the straight skirt instead of the flared skirt. All right. But it is an average to sew pattern and you will need a 20-inch invisible zipper. All right. But once again, this is Butterick 7006. Let's go ahead and move over into the KnowMe patterns. There's only two. And the first one is Nikki Brooks pattern KnowMe 2034. Now, I know you're like, Rochelle, this pattern is an average to sew pattern. How in the world are we going to sew this up in 2 weeks? Listen, you got to figure that out. I'm just giving you the options, okay? But it is a fully lined, once again, it's KnowMe 2034, and it's a fully lined, double-breasted blazer style jacket, all right? So I like the fact that it has collar, lapel, the welt breast pockets. It also has 3 welt pockets with the flap. It also has front and back darts for this one. And it has like slim fitted sleeves, which is another option right there as well. You're going to need several buttons. What I would do is definitely a muslin to test the fit and see how you like it before cutting out your regular fabric. All right. But this is Nikki Brooks pattern, Beauty J'adore, and that pattern number is KnowMe 2034. Next pattern, easy to sew pattern, and it is a no notion pattern. You can also use this pattern for next month in the month of February. Hashtag BHM Pattern Designers Challenge, hosted by Natita from So Natural Dane. That KnowMe pattern is 2050, which is the Veronica B. Cole's pattern. Now, one thing about this knit dress is you could definitely color block it like Veronica B. Cole did on the pattern envelope, okay? So this knit dress comes in 2 different lengths. It is a body hugger, okay? Okay. But it also has a plunging neckline as well. It's like this casual, sexy look. You could dress it up. You could put on wedges. You could put on some sandals. You could put on tennis shoes. Whatever you want to do and be cute and just throw on a bag and a chunky, y'all know the look. I don't need to tell y'all. But once again, this is 2050 Veronica B. Cole's pattern. Great for an easy to sew throw on knit dress. All right, let's go ahead and move over. Let's move from KnowMe over to New Look, and it's only 2 patterns. So the first New Look pattern is 6655. Now, one thing I like about this pattern is it has a closed back. So if you want to be modest, you can do that. But this dress is in 2 lengths with sleeve variation. It is an average to sew pattern. Now, this dress is an Empire style dress. It has front tucks, but it also have kind of like a front wrap. I don't know if you want to call it a faux wrap or a drape or whatever you want to call it at the skirt, but it does have like a front drape at the skirt, and I do like that. Now, another thing is it does have short sleeves, but you could also do long sleeves as well, which is where that sleeve variation comes in at. Don't forget that you're going to need an invisible zipper for the back for this one. Once again, it's New Look 6655. Let's go ahead and move over to the last New Look pattern. Next up is New Look 6667, and this one is a shift dress with French darts, and it has sleeveless option as well as with sleeves. Now, this one is actually an average to sew pattern. The only notion that you're going to need for this pattern is, of course, your invisible zipper. I thought this one was going to be great on the list because, I mean, if you're someone who's super modest, then this would fit the bill. You're not doing too much. Less is sometimes best, all right? But let's go ahead and move over from the New Look patterns over to the McCall patterns, then Simplicity, and close out with Vogue. So let's go ahead and get into the first McCall pattern. First up is McCall 7683. Now, I know Brittany J. Jones did this pattern, but I cannot remember if it was C or Raven who just did this pattern not too long ago. But this is a McCall pattern with dress. It's a dress with shoulder and skirt variation for this one. Now, this pattern is like a created pattern. It's an average to sew pattern as well. So with a created pattern, that means that you could take a bodice and a skirt and kind of freaking pattern it, basically pattern mesh up or whatever, and create several different looks. So it gives you 3 different bodice options and 3 different skirt options. You do the math. You have how many looks? I'll wait. Okay. Well, you have several different looks that you can create with just a bodice and a skirt. Okay. So you could do bodice number 1 with bodice number, bodice number 1 with skirt number 5, bodice number 1 with skirt number 6, bodice number 2 with skirt. You get my drift, but it's a created pattern. Once again, this pattern number is great for special occasions, great for Valentine's Day, great for anniversaries, great for birthdays and proms as well. But once again, this is McCall 7683. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up is McCall's 8038 Special Occasions Dress. Now, I like the fact that in the back, it does have a little drapey drape, but it also has a closed back, okay? So you can decide which one you want. It is an average to sew pattern. This pattern came out in 2020, I believe. And when I seen this pattern and it came out, I actually have it in my stash. I was like, oh, I like this back. This would be super sexy for a date night with your hub, your boyfriend, your babe, your significant other, your partner, whatever, this one would actually be a really good one. I could definitely see cutting this one to the knees to give that and that sexiness going on. But yeah, I thought this was cute. I put it on the list and it would be great for Valentine's Day. Once again, it's McCall's 8038. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. All right, next up, the next pattern is McCall's 8174. This is a knit pullover dress with faux ruching wrap sarong skirt, okay? It has elastic on view A and view C at the sleeves, okay? Now, I know C from We See Style, she did this one in a pink, and someone else did this one in a white. I don't know who it was. I can't remember off the top of my head who it was that did it in a white. But once again, I figured that this dress would be super cute to put on it for Valentine's Day. Make it in a red, make it in a pink, make it in a white, or make it in a purple. Which one you want to do? That's up to you. But once again, this is McCall's 8174. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up is a pattern that I know C from We See Style. So like I say C all the time, but not intentionally, but I know she did this pattern. And this is McCall's 8348. And this one is a Mrs. Dress and Shrug pattern. Now, I think this one is a easy to sew pattern. It's just basically a dress and shrug that can be made in multiple variations, multiple styles as well. View A, View B, and View C are different styles of shrugs. And then View A has kind of like your turtleneck. View B is like a crisscross front. And then View C is a turtleneck with the crisscross front. It sounds weird, I know. And then View the dress, which is View D, I believe, View D and E. The dress comes in 2 different lengths and have a V-neck in the front as well as in the back. All right. Now, for this one, if I remember correctly, this is a no-notion pattern. So, yeah, I'm going to look for you guys. I am actually right. This is a no-notion pattern. So, pick it up, okay? If you don't have it, pick it up. All right. Once again, this pattern is McCall's 8348. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up is McCall's 8505. Now listen here, this is a knit dress. Yes, it was also part of Sew Your View back in August. And Stacy from So Stacy, she was the host of this one and she made it in this gorgeous yellow. Oh my gosh, didn't she look so cute in it? If you missed it, go over to So Stacy here on YouTube so you can see her creation, okay, of this dress. It's an easy to sew knit dress. It has like the cutout details in the front. It has length and sleeve variations. It's more like a halter tie around your neck style dress. Now I'm gonna just put it like this. This one, your tatas will be showing a little bit, okay? It doesn't matter if you full bust or small bust. If you know, you know. I'm just not gonna say ITBC, okay? Because a lot of you guys got offended. Last time I said it, IBTC. You know what that stands for. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to offend nobody. However, I have said it in several of my videos and it wasn't an issue until the last one. So I'm just going to refrain from saying it as of right now. I'm not going to say that I'm going to refrain from saying it in future videos, but I'm not going to say it right now simply because I don't want to offend nobody. But whether you are full bust, small bust, or medium bust, right? Your tata's going to hang out a little bit if you are not even a little bit, a lot if you full bust, not so much if you small bust, but medium, like your BC cup, just a little bit, you know what I mean? But it is easy to sew. There is a sew along already for this pattern. Once again, it's McCall's 8505. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. All right, so transitioning from McCall patterns into Simplicity patterns. Now, this one that I'm going to share with you guys, I have a complete sew along on the channel for this pattern. It is a little on the older side, I will say that. So you may and may not be able to find it on Simplicity. I don't even think you're going to find it on simplicity.com, but I know you can find it on eBay, Etsy, or Amazon, our aunts and our cousins, okay? eBay, Etsy, Amazon, on Amazon, and both of our cousin eBay and Etsy, okay? But this pattern is Simplicity 8330, and this pattern right here would be good for prom, anniversary, wedding guests, or even Valentine's Day. It is a Mrs. Dress with skirt and back variations. Now the back has you can have like a circle in the back. You can have kind of like a inverted triangle in the back. So it's an open back there. But I feel like this is a nice, gorgeous gown or dress. It has one of the views have kind of like tulle at the bottom that you can do mermaid style. Yeah, that's what it is. Mermaid style for one of them as well. But once again, this pattern is Simplicity 8330. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up is Simplicity 9010. Many ladies in the sewing community have done this pattern. I know Mimi G have done this pattern in like this navy blue, probably crepeback satin or satin fabric. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it was super cute on Mimi G. But this pattern is a loose fitting dress with elastic and grown on sleeves. Super dope. Brittany J. Jones did this pattern as well. It is an easy to sew pattern, and what you will need for this dress is elastic. Elastic only. That's it. Once again, this pattern is Simplicity 9010. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up, speaking of Mimi G, this is a Mimi G pattern, and this one is a jumpsuit. This pattern is Simplicity 9142. So this is a Mrs. jumpsuit with a one shoulder drape detail by Mimi G. I like the fact that the sleeve is a puff sleeve, or you could do a flared sleeve as well, which is a length, and there is length variations for this one. There is a sew along also on her channel. I think it's on her channel or maybe the Simplicity channel. Just type in Simplicity 9142 and it'll take you to which channel that the video for the sew along is on. It is also an average to sew pattern, and you know you're going to need an invisible zipper for this pattern. Now, speaking of notions for this pattern outside of a zipper, I think that's the only, you're just going to need some thread. So you're going to need a 16-inch invisible zipper and thread in order to construct the jumpsuit. All right. Once again, it's Simplicity 9142. Let's go ahead and get over to the next pattern. Still in the tradition of Mimi G, the next pattern is Simplicity 9370. Now, you guys know this is kind of like a throw-on knit dress with a little cutout on the side. All right. So I like that it is a slim or A-line shaped skirt in 2 lengths with self ties at the side. It is an average to sew pattern for sure. Now for this one, in terms of notion, I think this is a no notion, but before I speak, let me make sure that this is a no notion pattern. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head, but this one is not a no notion pattern. So this one, you will need some elastic and a 9-inch invisible zipper. Okay. So once again, this pattern is Simplicity 9370 and it's Mimi G's pattern. Let's go ahead and get over to the next pattern. Next up is a Mrs. Knit dress as well, still in the Mimi G. So the pattern is Simplicity 9778, which is that tie front dress that she has. All right. It's easy to sew, semi-fitted knit dress. It has 2 different lengths, and it also have like a twist front and cut out details for the bottom portion of it. Now you can get it in a sleeveless option or a cap sleeve option, which are the 2 different lengths. And then you can do it in the shorter skirt view or the longer skirt view as well. This pattern is like, so many sewers have sewn this pattern. It is unreal, but it would be so cute to do for Valentine's Day as well. Once again, it's Simplicity 9778. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up is another knit dress, and it does have some cutouts. So don't kill me for all of these cutouts that I put towards the end. It was not my intention. I just picked 25. That was super cute. So this one is Simplicity 9885. It has a 1-shoulder dress. Well, this is a 1-shoulder dress that has gathered sides cutout detail and then gathered shoulder, which can be made with or without a sleeve. That's completely up to you. It has length variation, and then view A has an asymmetrical hem. Now, one thing about this one is it is an average to sew pattern as well. In terms of notion for this one, if I remember correctly, I think you need an invisible zipper, but just to make sure, you're going to need elastic for this one. And if you are doing view C, you're going to need a pack of single fold bias tape. All right. But once again, that pattern is Simplicity 9885. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Transitioning from McCall into the last 5 patterns, which are all Vogue patterns. So the first pattern is Vogue 8814, and this is a drop waist dress. So this dress is lined. It has a sleeveless dress. It has neck variation, a bias bodice, lower, front, and back zipper. Okay, front. So it has a lower front and a back, but then it also features a back zipper. It also has French darts. It has drop waist. It has flared skirt. You name it. This one is super gorgeous. Okay, like gorgeous. All right. It is, now they say it's easy to sew. I don't know if it's truly easy to sew. You're going to need to be putting in a center back invisible zipper at the back as well. Yeah. But once again, I'm just going to say, I don't know if it's easy to sew, but it does feature separate pattern pieces for cup sizes. So I actually like this one. Now, am I going to make it for Valentine's Day? Absolutely not. Not this year, at least. But once again, it is Vogue 8814. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up, I am going with a Mrs. Top. Now, this one was from like spring 2023, I think. And this is a loose fitting top that has gathered sleeve. This pattern number is Vogue 1939. It has button and bias loop front closure. So view A is more of like a crop version. And then view B have like long sleeves with the cuffs. I think this one would be super duper cute. You just have to make it. All right. But once again, this is Vogue 1939. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up, another Vogue Mrs. Top. It's Vogue 1940. And this one is a line empire waist top that has close fitting through the bust and have a deep V-neck bodice that has princess seams as well. One thing I like about this one is view A is sleeveless, but then view B is like your balloon sleeve with a stay. The stay is right here at the shoulder for the sleeve to kind of like stay up and not just collapse. All right. This is an average to sew pattern. Now, in terms of notions for this one, I'm pretty sure you're probably going to need a zipper to make sure that it stays together, because you do have that deep V as well. So just to confirm, for notions, you're just going to need a 14-inch invisible zipper. Once again, that pattern number is 1940. Let's go ahead and move over to the last two patterns. Next up is 1969, and this is a knit dress for the most part. It's close-fitting dress. It have cut out shoulder design and has underbust and princess seam with top stitching. Now this one, you're going to need an invisible back zipper in terms of the notions for this one as well. And then view A is your crew neck style, and then view B is your turtleneck style. Now for me personally, I like view B on this one, even though, you know, it's long sleeve turtleneck, yada, yada, yada. I get it. I like that. I like that view over the short sleeve view. Now, when it comes to notion, you're going to need some elastic, and you're going to also need a minimum 12-inch invisible zipper. All right. But once again, this pattern is 1969. Let's go ahead and get over to the last pattern to round off this love don't cost a thing, but I need you to create something that's going to make your man sing. Okay. But let's go ahead and talk about that last pattern. All right. So the last one is Vogue 1981. It is a dress pattern. It is a knit dress at that. It's close fitting, partially lined dress. It has the ruching detail going on. It has a concealed side front slit and long sleeves. Okay. So this is an advanced to sew pattern. So don't be scared, even though it's advanced to sew, but I would definitely say take your time and make a mock-up for this one. All right. You're going to need an invisible zipper to do that invisible zipper in the back. You're welcome. All right. Well, those are all 25 patterns that I am putting in this love don't cost a thing, but make something to make your boo, your babe, your partner, your hubby sing for Valentine's Day. All right. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy. If this video was educational, inspiring, and fun, you guys know what to do. Give your girl double thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. If you like content like this, make sure you check out my video right here so you won't miss another one of my videos when it's uploaded. Well, that's it for this video. Until next time, keep sewing.